Notification that I just got. Hi, Internet.
Hey, Internet. Oh, YouTube. Hey, look, it's even on my watch.
The future.
Look at that. Oh, man, there's
It's
Steve
like-
James.
It's like you can watch.
About to get jumped on by a
now.
butthorn. Hey, I can hear myself. This is great. Oh, theater mode. There we go. Boom. Theatrical. Now my watch won't be making my noises.
Watch.
Dude at work yesterday was saying that Men in Black is one of the greatest movies ever.
That's true.
And I was like, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It was one I enjoyed watching for a very long time because it's like 97 minutes. It knows what it's doing. It just gets in.
Mm-hmm.
It's efficient.
Yeah, it's just enough Tony Shalhoub, which is always my guidelines for everything.
And I even got to use the sugar and water thing on him.
There's
And
that.
so the dude loved it. So
Yeah.
I made a friend at work.
We're like an egg soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do say that all the fucking time.
Yeah,
so.
fucking egger suit. Oh, man. But yeah, he really loved Men in Black. I was like, good for you, man.
That's spectacular. Maybe one day we can all find our Men in Black.
Yeah. And then Men in Black 2 decided that efficiency thing was a little, let's do more to the point where we're inefficient because we haven't even told the full story. Because what is the runtime of Men in Black 2? Isn't it like 72 minutes or something insane?
I know without
like
credits,
that?
it's like 72 minutes.
Yeah.
There's not two. It's not mean in black. I did two E's.
I'm just curious. Yeah. I need to know.
I mean, 1 hour and 1 hour and 30 minutes, and you know that.
Oh, that's a lie.
You know that. That's the total runtime with
Yeah.
credits, and you know with all that CG and shit, it's got at least 10 minutes of credits. So.
Good evening, Curtis. Live chat. Turn on live chat.
Why am I just looking
Don't
at a
do
picture
talk
of
chat.
Michael Gross? Why is that happening?
Because Michael Gross is awesome.
Why don't. I clicked on Tremors 2, and somehow it took me to a full screen
Huh.
picture of Michael Gross. Like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody described like all 80s music like Tears for Fears as yawn singing. And now I kind of can't unhear that. But it is kind of like how they all, especially Tears for Fears, they were like the kings of it though.
They were tired.
Yeah.
All that crying gets you
Yep.
sleepy. Is this supposed to say this subscribers only mode messages that appear from people who subscribe to this channel? Is
Yeah.
that
That's how we keep out the shitheads.
just making sure. I don't think I'd ever noticed those words pop up before.
Yeah. When did you change it?
BJ changed it like 100 episodes ago.
Really?
Oh, I just guess I just never. Maybe people were chatting more proficiently before I clicked on the chat before.
It's possible, but you got to fucking ring the bell.
Well,
Well, you don't have to ring the bell to subscribe.
Whatever.
yeah.
Subscribe one way and then
Right.
ring the bell
It's
so you
just
get notified.
enabling notifications,
Yeah.
so you can tickle the hedgehog.
I was just using shorthand to get
To the point.
to the subscribe part.
Oh. But yes, you should ring the bell.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, the ladies like that.
So is YouTube like other algorithmically generated things where you won't get all the subscriptions that you have?
You absolutely do not get all the
Okay.
subscriptions you have.
So like if I haven't clicked Alton Brown in a while, he's not going to show up in my subscribed feed.
Yes.
So yeah, so if you have not rung the bell, then you could end up, we could end up dropping off.
The system will not tell you that there's new content, and then you don't watch the new content, and it drops out of your here's new content for you to watch.
What a fucking nightmare.
It's awful.
I mean, I know a lot of people who make content. Oh, I hate saying that. Just saying it like that makes me angry. But
Yeah.
they do videos. They do YouTube stuff. And they're just like, you can't go more than a few days. And then there's the people who, once you're over a certain subscriber number, you can't experiment. You have to keep giving people exactly what they want. Or else, if that number drops, if the views on that video drops below a certain level, then the algorithm's like, oh, I guess they're dead, and fucking murders you. It's
So we did let the robots murder us, just
kind of
more surreptitiously.
But yeah, I mean, there's as we know, I interested in a lot of board game stuff, and I watch a lot of people, and there's some that they're like, we really want to cover these weird types of board games that nobody's heard of, and they're like, yeah, we did that, the numbers dropped, and then so on the podcast, they're basically, later on, they're like, yeah, we're never doing that again because it fucked us for like 3 months. We have like 100,000 subscribers, and somehow, this one video means our stuff like dropped off a cliff for a month until people, that were loyal enough stuck with everything and it caught up. Even so, it was like, because it brought the average down enough, the algorithm was just like, nah.
Is this just playing?
Nobody wants to see
the entire movie here in the background. I feel like it's just actually playing the movie in the background. Like I just realized.
What, IMDb?
Yeah, it's like a 16-minute clip in the background. I'm just on a static page. I'm like, what the fuck?
Mine has play trailer with sound.
No,
1 minute.
I don't know. I just realized I thought it just played the trailer and stopped, but then it was like, no, that's still going. Let's just stop that. Anyway. Yeah, it's a nightmare. The whole internet's a nightmare.
It really is, man. I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like the internet.
Hi, internet.
I mean, I like the people on there. Well,
I mean,
most people on the internet.
No,
actually,
that's not true.
There's,
that's statistically
I like
wrong.
the people that are cool with us on the internet.
Yeah, I can't even begin to lie like that. Like that's not even possible. Like 99% of the people on the internet suck, just like in life. So you're just looking for the cool 1%, not the I have all the money 1%.
Agreed. Man, this guy was all in on Tremors, dude.
What, SS Thomas?
Yeah.
That ship has sailed.
Actually, no, it's weird. He wrote 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
And then directed 4, but did not write it.
Maybe he told his Tremors trilogy, his Tremors G, and then was like, I'm out, but not quite.
Wow, the poster for 3 just makes me angry to look at. But Tremors 3 has the girl from Jurassic Park.
What, like Jello Girl?
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't sound right.
Unix, I know this.
Yeah, no, I always think of her like the Jello because it's just,
Oh, hey, she was in Prancer.
Yeah, she was. She watched that. No, wait, I'm thinking of, it was Prancer where she watched that. Isn't that the one where he just murders himself at the end? Isn't that Prancer? There's one of those Christmas movies where I made it a really dark ending where he just runs off a cliff.
That's Prancer.
Okay, it's still one of my favorite non sequitur jokes in our Slack chat.
Okay,
was somehow you're covering Prancer and you hated it so much and you're just like fucking Prancer, and then somebody was like, so does that mean you're gonna watch the sequel? And you just wrote Prancer 2 Cancer. I was like, oh my god, it's perfect. It's a perfect joke. And I'm just sitting there at work reading Prancer 2 Cancer.
Oh man!
And cracking up at my desk, and people
it'd be
what the fuck's wrong with you?
It'd be so good. It'd be like a Nicholas Sparks Hallmark movie. It'd be so great. Nicholas Hall Sparks.
Whoever that fucking guy was.
Nicholas Sparks. He was the guy who was like, always someone was dying.
Yeah.
One of the two couples they would meet.
Always someone was dying.
One of the two couples.
Nickleby.
Nicholas Sparks. He wrote every single one of his things. Is like, which one of the couple is dying? Oh, he's dying. All right, she's dying this time. Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but then sometimes he'd swerve, and the other one would die.
And they both died.
The sick one would live, and the healthy one died. Wait, actually, that was every one of them. Never mind.
Spoiler. What a twist.
Yeah.
I've never read a Nicholas Sparks novel. I just remember it was all of that shit. I'm pretty sure. Was he the Notebook? He might be the Notebook.
I'm pretty sure he's the Notebook. I saw the end of the Notebook.
They write her every day.
Yeah, something like that.
That's the end of the Notebook. Sorry, spoilers.
Oh man, I forgot Spaced Invaders. We watched Space Invaders, and I remember being mad that a joke that was in the trailer was never in the movie.
Oh, while I'm mentioning the Notebook, can I, before we do the proper...
Speaking of the Notebook.
Well, no, this is just a non sequitur. It's a thing I meant to mention that is not it's not really fit for any. It's not a thing that should be said, but it's a thing that should be considered, and it should have been considered in the movie. I was on my Doctor Strange rant, and I think I briefly said, like, you shouldn't be watching a movie for the first time and be commenting on, like, how bad the hair and makeup is. But, like, there is a scene in Doctor Strange 2, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but Rachel McAdams has a growth thing on her one side of her face, and she usually gets shot from the other side as a result of it. It's like, it's a little bit more than just a mole. It's maybe something she should have looked at. But anyway, there's a scene where it's like, it's just prominently in the camera. Like, it's like, why didn't you shoot this? Like, how bad is Benedict Cumberbatch's other side that you chose to go with this angle? Because it's like, it's not just that it's like there in the camera. It's like, they also like let her hair get wrapped around. Like her hair, it's like gross in HD.
I had no idea.
I mean, and it's just like, no, like I'm like, guys, like how do you not see? Like how do you not have an HD monitor going? Like let's fix that and to do that.
We're eyeing 2 theaters tomorrow for seeing it.
Like I said, I'm not
seeing
trying
how many seats have sold.
I'm not trying to be mean. It's just it is there, and it's like, well, you should be conscious of it when you're filming, and maybe like not actually let their wig and stuff get wrapped around it.
There's the pandemic fucked Marvel up.
Yeah.
Because like when Doctor Strange shows up in the beginning of No Way Home, holy shit, he's got like the Steven Seagal wig on. It's bad. Like even Jen was like, what's with the wig? Yeah. And she never notices that sort of shit.
It's probably because they couldn't touch people like they want to, do all the makeup and stuff.
But I mean, his hair was like straight up Seagal, modern day Seagal level hair.
Okay.
Like when he's walking around in the sweatshirt. If you ever decide to watch that movie again, you'll.
No Way Home?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like the Go Scooby-Doo this shit scene? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Before he basically even takes him downstairs to do the spell. Like when it's all dark, it's all cold.
Yeah. Okay. So before Ned and.
Before everyone shows up. Yeah. It's like, God, wait, what? Come on. Because he looks fine the rest of the movie, but that one, like, for some reason, they. Like,
it's probably a pickup shot or insert.
Yeah, or a reshoot. Yeah. Those 2 movies were supposed to come out opposite, and it got all fucked up.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not a thing you should be noticing in a giant, big big budget Hollywood movie like when you've never seen it. Like these are not things these are like third viewing. Like, oh wow, look at that. Like you know, their underwear sticking out or some stupid fucking thing that someone should have caught. It's just like, yeah, you really should have caught that on your.
Yep.
Yeah.
You should. You should catch things.
Well, just, you have a lot of people with a lot of eyes. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, well.
Coffee Cup made it on the air in Game of Thrones, so there was no pandemic then.
Yes.
Yeah. Anywho.
You're not wrong.
Let's do a thing about some Tremors. Shall we? Let's. All right, and welcome to the BMFcast.
Hey, BMFcast.
Yeah. Episode, I don't know. I lost the number. What number are we on? 530 something?
542.
Yeah, there you go. 542.
Uh-huh.
I should have left that tab open and I closed it.
Oh, well.
My bad. I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm Chuck.
And what we do each and every episode of this here BMFcast is we go and we watch ourselves a quote-unquote bad movie, come in here and talk about it. Then they get ratings, good bad movies, enjoyable bad movies. They get 1 to 5 jocks, as in robot jocks.
Robot jocks.
Robot. Yay. Jocks.
Hooray for you, robot jocks.
That's a good, 5 jocks movies, really good. But
it is
a bad movie. They get a negative sliding scale, 1 to 5 bags. It's a giant bag of trash.
Gross.
Ugh. So 5 bags movie, the worst.
Don't want them in any capacity.
Do not watch it.
So that's your explanation. So in honor of the late great Fred Ward, we decided to watch Tremors 2, Aftershocks. From 1996, so
originally finished in 1994.
Yeah, just sat on a shelf while they fought the direct-to-video / theatrical release battle, and Universal was like, "Nah, man, this is going underground."
Yeah,
and
I get it.
Yeah,
but it was apparently the original budget was $17 million, and then they cut it to $4 million and sent it to direct-to-video because Kevin Bacon turned it down. So.
Sure, yeah, that'll do it.
I don't, he went on to, he did Apollo 13 instead, so.
It's a fair choice.
Not a bad decision.
No. I mean, though, he's arguably, the one everyone forgets is in Apollo 13.
Yes.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, even people remember Gary Sinise more than him, really.
Well, that's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, it's good to go work with Ron Howard and stuff. I'm just saying, people are like, oh, yeah, Kevin Bacon's in Apollo 13.
Yeah. But Fred Ward does return.
Mm-hmm.
with long hair. I don't like it. Fred Ward should not have long hair like that.
Okay.
I don't like it.
All right.
I think it fits the character of just like
I don't like
him
it.
not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I think it's easier to paint the universe, the post Tremors 1 universe that they exist in, than to like talk about the what's going on with the characters per se. But like Tremors 1 happened, and then basically the world was like, oh shit, there's possibly aliens and or underground creatures, and it became.
They became celebrities.
They became some, like People Magazine, stuff like that. There's a video, there's an arcade game, a graboid arcade game and stuff like that. But
it's a little different than how these things usually go,
Right.
which is like
you're a crazy person. That doesn't exist.
it would
Nobody
be a
remembers it.
gaslighting sequel of just like
it's like Ghostbusters to Ghostbusters 2.
that never happened. It's like no, it did. You all saw it.
Yeah, this guy had like 50 pounds of marshmallow dropped on him. So,
Yeah.
But like this one especially because it was so remote and there were only like 4 or 5 people. But I guess they had actual physical evidence because they have physical evidence of these things. So
Yeah. But yeah, of course.
But he's fucked it up. Like he's
you want the rest of the cast, or you want?
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. But Tremors, he was in obviously. He was also in Remo Williams, which you guys watched.
I mean, Right Stuff. That's probably his biggest
Yeah,
movie, but not of our.
But
stuff.
yeah, as far as our stuff, and then there's Helen Shaver, is the female love interest, I guess, for him. She's been in Amityville, which I heard you guys may have watched a couple of those.
We've seen one or two. Yeah.
Yeah.
all the ones
She was in the original one.
Mm-hmm.
The apparently good one. I don't know.
No.
Yeah,
The
and
one with Josh Brolin's dad in it.
2's better.
okay,
Yeah, 2's the good one, even though it's fucking weird.
okay, I'll take your word for it. But Christopher Garton is the Kevin Bacon replacement, which they make a joke about that during the movie. But he's not been in anything else we've seen. But he's worked, as Chuck put it. That man's done some work.
Yeah.
He's annoying, but yeah. Another guy who's done a ton of work is only in the opening scene is Thomas Rosales Jr., who has been in like name a 90s action movie, and he was probably in it, especially from like 96, 97, 98 range.
The Rock.
Okay, you picked the one he wasn't in, you motherfucker. Like Con Air, Face
I
Off,
win.
Speed. He just, Commando he was into. It's Spencer Confidential, so there you go. You got two quarantine variety hour movies.
I might have
there.
won, but I cheated a little because you just listed off like a bunch of them, and I just said one.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you say.
He was in Nighthawks and Ricochet, so he's got, and Man's Best Friend, one of my favorite episodes we've done. So anyway, yeah, he's in it. And then the last person is, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, my favorite person in the movie, Michael Gross, who's like the Tremors. He's the one link that is in every Tremors anything.
Well, yeah.
And for some reason, this is the only thing Michael Gross has, like a series of anything.
I mean, think about the guy. Like, the man never needs to work again. He's got family ties, dollars for the rest of his money.
Yeah,
for
I
the
know.
rest of his life. But I mean, so I think it's just like, I feel like if you're in that position, like, I feel like Adam West was in the same position. He just, look at Adam West's career. It's bizarre. He didn't have to work his entire rest of his life, I don't think. It was just
well,
like.
he absolutely did. He spent all that money.
Did he?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Well, all right.
That's
fine.
the thing.
I guess Michael Gross invested well.
Maybe.
Well,
He
I
had
mean,
some
but that's the thing
gross
people always say
profits.
is like, why would you work? You have this 80s sitcom money. It's like, well, first of all, they don't.
Well, I mean, I would think someone like Adam West would have merchandising money too, but I don't know. Maybe not back then. I don't know.
Back then, no.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Well, maybe his Cool as Ice residuals weren't showing up for Michael Gross. I don't know, but I just feel like he could have been in a lot of things. Like he could have shown up in so many things, and just used the charisma he has.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking pre-show about the trappings of falling into Lifetime and Hallmark movies. That people that have like sort of falling out of favor with Hollywood can kind of go work there. Especially if they still have charisma.
Yeah,
you would think, just given his face and his TV career, that's where someone like he would end up. He would be perfect. Like, let's go see Grandpa Michael Gross and this week's holiday movie or whatever.
He's done a few holiday movies. I'll say that, but he's like, it's a really weird filmography. I wonder if he just pissed somebody off or something. If it's one of those things, but I mean, I loved him in the
maybe
first
give,
Tremors. I love him
Meredith
in this
Baxter
movie.
Bernie a Dutch oven. Who knows?
Yeah. And that was the end of it, man.
Yeah.
It's
If there's a saying they have in Hollywood, it's don't Dutch oven Meredith Baxter Bernie.
I mean, it's just a thing where once you slide off into the direct-to-video market,
You're dead to
you
me.
don't exist.
You may as
in
well be doing porn.
A-list circles. Like that's why it was always weird when Eric Roberts would show back up in a real movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he shows up in fucking Batman. And you're like, what? How? Like,
so
how
does
is-
Rutger Hauer. But I mean, like that. I mean, that would felt like an intentional, like, let's go out and get some, some of the oddball character actors that people should see more of. I'm not saying they're oddball. I'm just,
Yeah,
the
but
ones
it's
that
still
unless
like
direct to video.
Yeah, it's
people.
still like you've been banished here. How did you get out?
Yeah,
Sure.
When
yeah,
they
exactly.
show
What's
up.
the secret? Like
Yeah. Well, they also had William Fichtner. I mean, I'm just saying, like, Dark Knight was
Tom
like,
Berenger.
Yeah, I mean, it had Tom Berenger. Yeah, they were just like, yeah, let's go get all of them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Willem Fichtner was all the way out by the time he showed up in the beginning of Dark Knight, but
No,
Yeah.
he was still making
Yeah,
regular ass movies.
Well, sure, but I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
it was also like a little bit more of a, I mean, he's like one of the first speaking roles in a giant movie, and it's like it's a well-known character actor. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
yeah,
That's all.
but it's just I feel like Michael Gross should have there should have been like a Tarantino thing where it's like I'm gonna bring back Michael Gross.
Yeah.
Like I don't get it. I just and maybe he doesn't want to do anything. Maybe he's like, no man, Tremors. I fucking love Tremors. Who knows?
I don't know. Who knows?
Anyway,
I mean, no one's bringing back Alan Thicke, or
Well,
or
he's
dead.
dead.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying, like, no one went back. I just feel like there was.
and his son's a shithead.
Well,
so
I'm just saying, like, there's a certain level. I feel like Family Ties, Growing Pains, like that. They were like the pre Full House, like ultra pure sitcoms where it was just like, most people were just like, fuck all of this. Like, it's just too saccharine.
they did fall in the zone because Gen X in particular, super cynical.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But
It's
like millennials, way less cynical.
sure.
Even though they should be way more cynical at this point, but
Yeah.
like way less cynical. So they Full House hit them
Mhm.
at the age where they're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah,
This is great. And us, it hit the age where we're like, this is great. And then we turned into teenagers. We're like, no,
Oh, I
fuck
don't-
all this.
No, I don't think so. I feel like I was always of the age, like Full House. Like, to me, there were certain shows like Saved by the Bell, Full House, and Step by Step, all the other things on that whatever
Yeah.
ABC bullshit thing. But I mean, like, all of those were just like they were a different level where it's just like we're trying, like.
Oh, the ABC Friday night.
Well, yeah.
family
I mean,
night
it's just
thing.
like like super before the watershed. Like, I mean, it was just like, oh my god, this is like, just getting a little too like, oh my god, like, I don't know. There's just something. There was like always a level of like, is this
Mhm.
secretly funded by special interest groups and stuff like. Anyway,
Chuck is like, I didn't watch any of these shows. I don't care.
I just
Right?
feel like there was a certain level of like these shows where it was like there's a cheese level that will never wear off, and I don't think you could make. I don't like. Welcome Back, Kotter had at least like fans of the time, so you could be like, hey, John Travolta, you need a second chance, and you
Mhm.
made some shitty talking baby and dog movies, and maybe you can be cool again. But I'm just saying, I don't think there's certain people that I don't know you can change the image. Like, I don't know if you could suddenly be like, here's the Olsen twins in a fucking grim and gritty like action movie. I don't think anyone would.
But he
fucking
did
buy
change his image.
Who?
Michael Gross.
Did he?
Squeaky clean dad on Family Ties, gun-toting maniac in the Tremors movies? Yes.
I feel like this was just some like. I mean, I feel like it only works because of his image. Whatever. I don't know.
It's a possibility.
I'm just saying, like this. I feel like the Tremors sequel. I feel like these movies are stupid. I mean, that's what I'm ultimately trying to say. I kind of hate
They
the
are.
Tremors. I kind of hate the Tremors movies because
no.
because they're like
Just to remind you, you gave the first one 4 jocks.
fine. Well, the idea that the Tremors movies became like Tremors is an anomaly. It's a weird. It's just sort of weird, like
The first one is an unapologetic B movie in an era where B movies were
Right.
very much
Right.
frowned upon.
yes. I am saying if you take away all of the shitheadedness like of everybody that I'm about to name, but like when you first saw, like get me wrong, that is a huge caveat because like when you saw the first Jeepers Creepers, and I understand who I'm mentioning,
Yeah.
but it was like, oh, okay, this is an unusual like B movie horror movie thing. Okay, I get it. And then they were like, they just kept going, and it was like, well, why? Like nobody wanted more, and then it was like you find out the backstory, and it's like, well, double fuck all of that, and it's like. I just feel like there are certain franchises where they get like a monochrome of success, and they just keep rolling with it, and it's like nobody asked for more of it, and it's like, who wants more of it? And like I said, I feel like Tremors is like a James Gunn joke that somebody just kept rolling with and made too much of. Like, if there had been more Slithers, I wouldn't want them. Like, like Slither by itself is fine, but like when you get to Slither 2 and it's like, we're aware of who we are and what we're doing, and this isn't fun anymore. It might as well be Sharknado to me. And I feel like this Michael Gross character, while entertaining, only works because it's playing off of his squeaky clean good boy image. That's the only reason it works. Is it's just like it's the Chris Gaines to Garth Brooks. It's like I'm evil now. Look at me, haha. Yeah. Yeah.
You're the only person who has compared Tremors 2 to Chris Gaines.
Sure. Well,
or really compared Tremors to Garth Brooks.
Well, I've got some friends in low places, and they're called graboids.
Anyway.
Yep.
Chuck looks ready to talk about the movie.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to shit all over Tremors. Sorry. Didn't mean to bring it down.
No, it's all good, man.
Okay.
So, like we talked about, what we're getting into, the movie starts with Fred Ward basically. Well, the movie starts with our stuntman buddy, Thomas Rosales Jr., trying to escape a graboid. Did they name them graboids in the first one?
Yes, somebody did.
Okay.
Somebody
All
got
right.
it, apparently.
Yes.
One of us meant, probably you, Harlow, you hate that name.
It's a dumb name.
I feel like somebody, maybe it was just
It's
me in
probably
my
just-
head going, I hate that name.
That also feels like BJ's not here to speak for himself, but I feel like that would rub him incorrectly.
Yeah. We should have listened to the Tremors episode to see how we felt about Tremors.
Well, I think the thing is like it's just not a very good descriptor. Like, I mean, I guess I get it that they come up from out of the ground and grab you, but it's like,
and you can't call them sandworms. I mean, you call them landworms. I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel like there's a better slithery name than graboid.
Anyway, this guy is trying to escape one of them, and does not. Like, he's working in an oil field, and he's like, they've somehow set up all these drums, and he's trying to jump across the drums to get away. And there's some fun little ground effects where they're dragging something underground, and it's pushing all the dirt away, to simulate one of them coming after him. But he gets et in the opening scene. He doesn't get away. Thing pops up, eats him.
Yeah, and then
boom, Tremors 2, Aftershocks.
Yeah, and we know we're in Mexico because of the music before we get a title card.
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of like, oh, did Fred Ward move down to Mexico because there's no graboids there? Like,
not yet.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, again, it's sort of like, it's like the Jaws sequel thing. It's like, do you want to go where there's more sand? I mean, you could go up in a Rocky Mountain, like a literal actual Rocky Mountain, and
they get him to go with money, as always works with these.
Well, no, I meant like if he had moved to Mexico, but no, it's
he lives in New Mexico.
Yeah, he lives in Nevada, New Mexico, whatever,
somewhere.
But anyway, like
the desert. Still,
he lives in a shitty trailer. Guy at a taxi takes the Pemex, the petroleum guy from Pemex is the actual petroleum place in Mexico. But it takes him
Senor Pemex.
They basically take him to the say like we need our oil fields are under attack. We need you. You're an expert. And Kevin Bacon already said no. More or less.
Because he married a good woman.
Yeah. Didn't he actually marry his actual wife from Tremors? Isn't that wasn't Kira Sedgwick in that? No. Where were they? Where did they meet? Who was in the first Tremors? What was the lady?
I could not tell you at this.
It wasn't Kira Sedgwick. Okay.
No, definitely not.
I don't know.
Definitely not.
Because that is who he's married to, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Whatever. Or is that Ethan Hawke?
He's not married to Ethan Hawke.
Oh, you say that.
No, it's true.
Ethan Hawke is married to Julie Delpy. I don't know. It's not.
No, the woman from the first one basically was in nothing else.
Okay.
Oh, she was in How I Got Into College, but I believe that was before this movie. So.
Anywho. Yeah, so like Kevin Bacon's not in this movie. Hey, we'll pay you $50,000 for every graboid you can kill that come down here. No, but all right. Because basically, the swingers extra guy is basically like, hey, you should go. This is your other shot.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's the best way to describe him. He's got that swingers energy of like, calm the fuck down, guy.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the first half of this movie is, I don't know any other way to say it, but it's very 90s direct-to-video filmmaking. Like, it's like playing to the back of the audience stuff. especially, and this guy like epitomizes it, where it's just people.
It's a parents' movie.
Somewhat,
is
yeah.
what the first 45 minutes in. It's you go visit your parents and they're like, we have a movie, let's watch Tremors 2.
Yeah.
Because it's just got a lot of 80-yard jokes in it to fill silence. It's got a lot of reaction time after jokes to let the audience laugh.
Yeah, it's just it's that very unnatural. Like, these aren't humans reacting to each other's stuff.
Yeah,
It's like we're all doing our shtick.
So, I mean, the weird things about it is that Fred Ward's character is not traumatized by Tremors. He's traumatized by losing all the money that he made from the experience of Tremors. Like, he's not terrified to be outside or anything like that. He's not living in an apartment high-rise or something like that. It's not that kind of story. It's just like, I went through this thing, I made some money, I got screwed, fuck everything.
Now I'm washed up.
Yeah. And so this happy-go-lucky cab driver shows up with he jumped at the chance to come meet him because he's a fanboy of the Tremors, and is just like, come on, George, let's go. Come on. Let's go kill these things. We'll make money. And he's like, I like money. So that's the premise.
Yeah.
And then the first 45 minutes is just them killing graboids. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Basically like an extended montage. They get remote control cars, load them up with dynamite, drive
They
around.
got a pretty good plan, and it's working.
Yes, it is a smart plan. It is executed mostly well. They make a couple of stupid decisions, but for the most part, they know exactly what to do. They're doing it, and there are so many of these goddamn things. They're like, in 10 minutes of this montage, they're already millionaires.
Yeah,
They
because
blow
they're
up so
getting
many
$50
of
grand
these.
each.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're like, all right, we just made $300 grand a piece. They're like, but there's so many more.
Yeah.
And because they got a little tracker.
Yeah,
and,
they've gone through, like, they have seismographs all over the ground so they can, like, alien track them on this device.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they meet Helen Shaver, who is a geologist who's working down there.
Right.
And
Everybody knows, like, the oil company, this is also not the kind of movie where the oil company's trying to hide this, or they have no nefarious plan that we know of.
I also like you think that you're about to get that, like, the Alien 3, like, we want to use it for, or I guess it's Aliens too, but, like, we want it for weaponizing it.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's basically like, hey, we'll pay you double if you can capture one for live. And Fred Ward's like, the fuck? Why would you know how big these things are? He's like, it's just a suggestion, man.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
It's like, if you want
and
to.
it's like that plot's done. It's just like, he's like, if you can catch one live, we wanted to study it, but
But I mean, like, the head of the oil company guy never comes back.
No.
He makes them that offer.
he's smart.
And then he leaves. But it's not like, haha, those fools, they're going to die. It is just, they're doing a job. And
Fix my problem.
basically the
He's hired the plumber to fix the plumbing, and he's like, I got to go to work.
yeah,
Don't flood the house.
Yeah.
just go plumb.
Yeah.
He fixes the cable. But yeah, I mean, like, the real crux of this movie is, like, halfway through the shoe that drops is that they evolve. I mean, I know I'm jumping way ahead, but it's like, this plan is totally working.
You're not really jumping that far ahead.
No, I mean,
because,
it's,
they blow up a bunch of them.
they drive a truck. They've made this, like, dumb chain thing that, like, drags the ground and makes a lot of noise with cans and stuff, and then they drive an RC car loaded up with dynamite around until it eats one, and they set it off. Put up umbrellas as all the viscera flies on them, and drive around and do it again.
Man, I will say this: the crew on this movie, the guys off camera had a lot of fun just throwing chunks at people.
And timing it well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, there's always at least one chunk that went up into the fucking stratosphere and comes back down after everything else has. And it's always just this well-timed, like, plunk on someone's head of just crap. And yeah, that's probably, I mean, don't get me wrong, the effects in this for the most part are pretty good, but the crew shooting that shit in the air did a real good job.
Yeah, it's the crew. Phil Tippett did the CG stuff and supervised Amalgamated Dynamics, I believe is the name of the company. But it's like Tom Woodruff and Alec Gillis.
Yeah.
And they did, like, the later Alien movies. And it's like they like goop.
Yeah, well,
they like
the
goopy
physical
monsters.
people, the CG people are like, I mean, as we looked up in the trivia, I mean, literally, like, one of the alternate designs for the graboids became the Starship Trooper creature bugs. Yeah. I mean, and you can see it as soon as they evolve into land-based things. They're similar.
Yeah. And they are lit like 1994 CG characters would be lit.
They got
like that was the problem with mid 90s CG was like Jurassic Park did it right because the CG ones were always in brightly lit scenes, and I'm sure Spielberg says we got to get this right, and it would change the lighting. But everybody else, like I always cite Eraser, the crocodile thing, as one of the worst effects of all time, and it's because of the lighting. Because the lighting is so off, and that's how these feel. Is they feel like that's not lit right. I mean,
the
and
Scorpion
it looks
King,
and it pops right off.
Besides
the
the
screen.
Scorpion King and Mummy 2 being so bad, the other problem is that it's in a tomb full of torches, with like very harsh reflective light on all the actors, and so when it's a completely flat Scorpion King thing, that's another reason it looks so bad. But
for the time and the budget of this thing, yes, you can tell when it's either a physical thing or a CG thing, but
it's pretty good for directing.
The
CG is pretty good considering.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
I really like the practical stuff in this movie.
Oh, it's neat.
Like all of them, I think are really good.
Like the design is neat, and the way they make these things act like things you've never seen before is unique, and they keep doing it.
Yeah, let me step back and say, like, my issues, I think, with the Tremors verse, if you will, is that, like, and again, I'm not trying to harp on the shithead that is the Jeepers Creepers guy, but it was like, I'm just saying, like, it was like, this is a one-trick idea. Like, this is a thing. Like, I was like, I have an idea. Like, what if a scarecrow came to life and killed people? Or what if, like, this giant sandworm was here? Like, this one idea. And then it's just like, yeah, and this is my life now. And it's like, yeah, no. Like, that was barely a thought. And, like, now you're just committing all in on that. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I would say that Tremors is barely a thought.
Well, it's...
Again... You gave it 4 jocks,
but
really liked it.
It's the fucking sandworm from Dune. It's all it is. It's not a thought. It's literally it's a fucking, like, it's an afterthought.
And we'll get into what my problem with this one, what it's ripping off, because this is I didn't mention in the crew, but S.S. Wilson is the director of this, also the writer. He also wrote the first one, and then he wrote the third one, and then he directed the fourth one. So. He's in on the Tremors universe for sure.
Yeah,
he's he cares about this baby.
I'm gonna keep making ship jokes because his name is SF.
Yep. But so their plan's going well. What goes wrong that they have to call Michael Gross in?
They just see on the radar that there are so many of these things still remaining.
Okay.
And they're just like, we got to call in backup. We can't kill all these things on our own. So yeah, it's just basically Fred Ward calls him and just like, hey, buddy.
Yeah, and then Michael Gross is not about it until he says, hey, it's graboids. And then suddenly he bolts up from his seat.
Well, yeah, he's not really talking about what's going on. He's actually just asking about his life, and they haven't talked, and where's Reba?
How you doing?
Yeah.
Living the dream?
And Reba is written out as basically, she
left him.
Visiting
she
her
left
sister.
him and asked for her gun.
Yes.
And that's how he knew it was over. Yep. But anyway, so now he's here with a military truck full of explosives and weaponry.
Yeah, because apparently you can just ask the military or the Mexican government for anything, and they'll go, okay, here.
Yeah, it's all Shasta and asking the military and RC cars.
Yeah.
These are all things we have established that it's all there is in Mexico is RC cars, Shasta, and military explosives. Yeah. High ordnance.
That's right. This is our second Mexican movie in a week, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, Extreme Prejudice.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
See. I mean, we.
Yep. So Michael Gross, he shows up. They show him the plan. He's like, great, payback. And so he's blowing him up. They're blowing him up. Fred Ward starts to realize that they're getting smarter about things because they're not chasing the truck anymore. They're going off somewhere else, chasing something else. So they follow him, and they get ambushed by one that pops up out of the ground. He says, oh, shit, throws the truck in reverse and drives it, like, basically not off a cliff, but
he hoons and yeets again.
Yeah, he does yeet his vehicle through excessive hooning.
Yeah. Well, the kid was, like, extra hooning for no reason, to which Fred Ward commented, stop all that hooning. Yeah. But he didn't.
But he basically drops the car off a cliff behind him, a sharp enough embankment that it breaks the axle. So that car's screwed. They can't go anywhere.
They were never getting dislodged from this position.
No, they were not getting dislodged, but the wheel was also like, camber was a little off by about 45 degrees.
Yeah, they're going to need those tires aligned.
Yeah. But they realized that the one up at the top of the hill that surprised them, there's something wrong with it. because it's not attacking. It's just kind of like laying around, being a bitch. And they're like,
I like that the sidekick runs over to it and just smacks it.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, come get us!" Smack it.
because
mean-
they keep driving the truck
I mean, to
with
be
the
honest-
explosive on it, and they keep bapping it in the mouth, and
Yeah.
they're like, it won't eat it.
Yeah, eat the thing.
I mean, honestly, I don't know why, but I got a serious like that was supposed to be an homage to 2001 because I swear to God he does the same motion one of the apes does at the monolith.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I swear he kind of monkeyed down there and slaps at it and then
Yeah.
monkeys right back. It's a weird motion for a human to make for it
Mhm.
not to be like a reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's good though.
It is
like,
good,
Like
yeah.
it works. It's like the
I-
first time I actually liked that guy.
yeah, I mean, I thought this thing was just giving birth, which technically I guess it kind of was, but I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Maybe that's what it ends up being
Yeah.
because it's like wailing and
Right.
screeching, and they call Pablo to come get it because they were like, "Hey man, we got a live one. Like we're
Ooh,
gonna
we got
get
a live one
that's
here."
100. Yeah, we got $100,000 for this. Fuck yeah!" And they're like, "Well, get Pablo out here on the truck." And this is the middle of the afternoon. It's nighttime. It's like middle of the night.
mm-hmm.
And they see the truck off in the distance, and then they just see it stop.
Well, it's middle of the night or 7 o'clock at night, according to Michael Gross.
Yeah, continuity error.
Yeah.
Mexican time. They don't
Yeah.
time zones.
Oh, they use the metric
Mm.
system.
Yes.
Something like that, because either way, it's like it's the middle
It's a
of the night.
goof.
Goof, not a goof.
Yeah.
Goof. But eventually they're like, well, shit, we got to go over there. But they also go up and they hear the thing wailing again, and then they're like, oh, let's go check out what the hell's going on with this thing. And they come up there, and its side has burst open, and is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking at all the goopy insides.
Yeah, it's basically a side of graboid beef just
Yeah.
hanging there and dripping.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I guess we're not salvaging this thing, so they have to go. They decide to make a break for the truck.
I think this was the point where I declared that it was like, I think I know now why they sell those 55-gallon drums of like KY jelly and stuff on Amazon
Mhm.
because it's for people like making this movie because
Yeah,
there's so much goop.
yeah, it's good goop though.
I mean, this carcass is just dripping goop.
I like the goop,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Bring on the goop. Yeah, but they eventually get to the truck and they can't find Pedro. The engine has been ripped out of the truck.
Well, they find Pedro's hands.
Yeah, and this is like the whole like, okay, this first time director type thing here, because you see the hands on top of like the handlebars up, like across the roll bar or
Yeah.
whatever. And as they have the guy go to walk around, they cut the shot to just showing the stumps. And then the guy turns around the corner and reacts to it. And it's like, no, that's not how you film this. You film it, he comes around the corner, and then he oh no, you shoot over his shoulder and you spot the hands. It's like,
with a stinger. I mean,
yeah,
it's
it
like
just it's one of those like, unless they're just going, hey, like his arms are ripped off,
yeah,
and you're Samuel L.
like,
Jackson.
like yeah,
in
bitch,
here.
you've seen
I mean,
Jurassic Park.
yeah, I mean that would be the only reason to do it that way.
Yeah.
But either way, like it was one of those things that like just so like. You fucked up that shot so bad that I actually had to yell at the TV, be like, "No, don't! Why did you do this? You did this wrong.
But then 2 minutes later,
Bad
well,
movie.
not 2 minutes,
Hit
but
you with a newspaper."
a few minutes later, I feel like they redeem themselves by doing something you never see in a movie that is a character having a colossal fail. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit later.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
it
I'm
is a little bit later.
jumping ahead, but there is a point where it's not important what's happening, but there is a point where Fred Ward is like elevated over these graboid things, which have now sprouted little legs. I mean, they basically look like the what the fuck were they called? The things from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those little bots, the Foot Clan.
Scrappers.
Yeah,
Is that what they were?
there were something bots, mice bots. No,
Yeah, I think. Man, now I can't remember. Shit.
because it was just from the cartoon, and I'm
Yeah.
not really the cartoon person.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. They look exactly like those basically now. I mean, there's those little like two-legged mouth things. But so like they're on the ground, and he spots a electrical cable conduit.
Mousers.
Mousers. I was like, I
Yeah.
thought it had something to do with
Thank
mice.
you, Robert, in the chat.
Yeah.
Mousers.
But like it had like a conduit cables going across the ceiling, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna Errol Flynn this shit across the Mousers here, the graboids." And
Yeah.
but like goes to do it, and like of course all of the these cheap ass brackets fall off the ceiling, and he just like falls on the floor like
Yeah.
Three Amigos style, just It's just like that's great because you never see like
Yeah.
you know it's just this schlubby
The
character.
plan always works.
This schlubby character should not be able to arrow Flynn across all this shit, and for it to not work is like thank you for reality.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yep.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, they get to the other truck and they're like, well, shit, this isn't going to work. Pedro's dead. And somehow they get back to the camp. Do they walk it?
They walk.
So despite all the graboids being underground and, you know.
Well, they run
The
for
whole-
they
They're
run.
not. They explain that
Yeah.
all the graboids all gave birth.
Well, they find the
Because they
carcass.
could hear them screaming off in the distance. They could hear the sound. So they
Yeah.
Wait, okay, so they go and investigate Pedro first, and they find Pedro's hands.
Yeah.
Then they hear the thing scream, go over there and find the carcass, and then they're like, "We got to go find the radio tower. There'll be a working radio there because by this time their radios have died."
Mhm.
But they don't realize it's because the graboid things have eaten the radio things. So they go to the radio tower and like find all that shit destroyed, and that's when Vince Vaughn Jr. is like, "Game over, man." This is when he starts to instant out. Pretty
He
good.
does
Yeah.
instant out pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, he freaks out for a few minutes.
That's
and
right. Then
yeah.
they find a Volvo that
Yeah.
they can hotwire. But this is the first time we're introduced to the Screamoids.
Right. Oh, is that what they're actually called? They have
I
names?
believe so,
Okay.
yes. Yeah. So these are the evolved versions, which are basically like little Ninja Turtle mousers.
Mhm.
But if you've got more of a Starship Trooper bug face
Yeah.
to them. And the cool thing they do is they have a little flap above their head that like they flip open, and it's just like you see their red brains in
Yeah,
there.
It's I mean, to keep it topical, it's very Demogorgon. I mean, it's
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
but
mean, I know many years before. I'm just
yeah, of course.
for topical, you know, if you want to know what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool little design, and they built 4 or 5 practical ones. I think 5 is the most I saw in a shot. It might only have been 4 though. But they do, you know,
had plenty.
they do the aliens thing where it's like, okay, just keep filming them in different spots. You know, you show a whole bunch of them with editing. Otherwise,
And
it's
shadows, they do some shadow. They do some
Yeah.
Gremlins tricks with hard lighting and shadows. And
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Otherwise, it's just CG. You know, when there's more than 3 or 4 on screen at a time. And yeah, one comes around the corner and they're like, "The fuck is that? And what's it doing above ground?" And it charges them. Luckily, they've got their elephant guns from Michael Gross, so they pulp that one.
And they hit him gross point blank.
Yes, there it is.
Uh,
But then they realize there are more around the corner, and so they have to hotwire the Volvo and get the fuck out of there. And
As you do.
as you do, and they are able to do that. We see them, the other ones around the corner, but they get away. They get back to where Helen Shaver is, and we're like, shit's gone wrong. It's not good.
Well, before they get there,
Yeah, that's true.
the other guy, like Helen Shaver's, like in her office, like, "Hey, where's everybody?" And then
That's right. And the assistant
oh
guy.
yeah, Julio. Yeah.
just guy pops up, like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "I don't know where everyone is." And he's like, "I'll go check." And then he just starts going, "Ah!" and grabbing her, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And they finally cut outside, and you see one of these things is just eating his leg.
It has already eaten the
Yeah.
bottom of his, like, knee down.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yes.
Mhm.
And she's just like, "What the hell?" And then it eventually yoinks. I mean, this goes on a good like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's real uncomfortable as she is holding this man and screaming her head off as he is screaming. She's just screaming because he's screaming.
Yeah. And then she sees it
Yeah.
in the window after he gets yanked down. She's like, "Well, the fuck," and
Locks the window.
yeah, slams
And
the window.
it's real shortly after this
Yeah.
that they pull up and are there.
Yeah, like she's cowering in the corner, ready to hit something with a little hammer.
Yes.
And then they burst in and
Yeah,
save her.
she's got an Andy Dufresne rock hammer.
Yeah, and I guess that's why I get confused because like these shots are like at noon.
Mm.
It's bright daytime now, and their encounter with the Screamoid and the Volvo is
I think the only thing that
in
just
the
makes
middle of the
sense
night.
is Michael Gross saying it's 1900. That's I mean,
Yeah.
it should have been 4:00 at night because I mean the way they're acting, like, oh my God, they've been gone so long. Where are they?
Yep.
You know, I mean, it should be in the middle of the night, but
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, but they get out. They're able to kill that one, I guess. And they get outside, and Michael Gross shows up with his military truck, and he's just the truck's covered in viscera. He's covered in nastiness, and that's when he gets the speech that we had from the beginning of the episode, where he's just like,
I'm missing crucial information.
yeah, where and he's like, "I'm out of ammunition." And he's like, "I don't think that's ever happened before."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I would have more if I had known what was going on. But crucial information was not given.
Mm-hmm.
And flips out on them. And Fred Ward's like, we didn't know, man. And we would have called you, but they took out the radio.
Yeah, they ate the radio.
Yeah.
But Michael Gross caught one and roped
Yep.
it.
And this is what leads to him going, yeah, I killed, because he's killed at least a dozen of them. He lost count.
They start trying to do math of like, okay, there was like 8 worm graboid things left. I guess that's why they have different names, but there's 8 graboids left, and they figure maybe 3 of these pop out per when they evolve or metamorphosize or whatever.
How do they just reason that it's 3?
Size, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
It's a real quick, like, 3.
Yeah, they're gonna say maybe
Yeah.
3 per. I don't know.
Yeah, just so they can say there's at least 24 out there.
Right.
And then Fred Ward's like, well, we shot that one there.
Yeah.
And that one there. And then this one. And she's like, and? He's like,
That's it.
that's it.
Yeah, but then this is where they figure out it has predator vision. That it's a thermal sensing thing. Because the first ones they didn't have eyes; they only sense vibration and attack that way. This one, it's like now they're on land. They still don't have eyes or ears. They just have that heat sensing antenna that comes up.
Yeah, Michael Gross it's a pretty good way of figuring it out because he's banging stuff with a broom,
Yeah,
and it's not reacting.
Not reacting to the sound. Or
but
the
as
sight.
soon as he puts his hand up, that's when it suddenly freaks out.
Yeah.
So.
And then Vince Vaughn Jr. is like, oh, maybe it's hungry, and throws some like an MRE in there, and that's when we find out it basically like gremlins out. If it eats a certain amount, it just vomits out another one.
Yep.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So they can multiply asexually. All they have to do
by having a snack.
All they have to do is get full. Because we were like, oh shit, it's gonna
snack you up.
Yeah, we're like, it's gonna puke out Julio because the way it's doing it is like, oh man, Julio's coming out, isn't he? And
it's a baby.
It's more like a Julio.
But also, when they brought the truck back, one had stowed away, Cape Fear style, underneath it.
Yeah.
And eaten an MRE. And then they get into all of Michael Gross's MREs.
But they have a snack shack, and I'm not joking. Like there is a bar, and it's just full of like sugary sweets, as they say.
Yeah.
And like greens and stuff, and it's like you guys are an oil refinery, right? Why do you have all this? But yeah, they break. Michael Gross
petroleum, the candy of nature.
Sure, but they basically like Michael Gross doesn't move where he like traps like 2 of them or something, and 3 of them, whatever. There's not very many in this room, and they're like, it's full of food. It's gonna, oh my god, they're gonna multiply, and they have like sort of gremlins freak out.
Yeah, because they get outside, and then they kind of redo a section of the first movie where one of them ends up on the water tower, and then they all kind of end up on the water tower for not really good reasons.
Well, before that, they're trying to find a place to hide, and dude's like over here, and they run to a building that only has one wall.
Yeah. Even though she's trying to tell them, don't go in that building.
Yeah, and they all run in there, and that's a good reveal.
That
like,
is
the reveal that they fucked up with the arms. They do this well.
They make up for it with this reveal.
Yeah, and so they come up with a plan to take these doors that are part of the under construction building.
Because I just want to describe the shot because you're shooting them from behind, running. And she's like, don't go in there. Don't do it. And they run through the door. And as they slam the door shut, they smash cut to the other side, which is literally just that one wall and them cowering. And there's like just not even frame on the other side.
It's funny, but like also why on the earth would anyone build a building like that? Like build it like a facade.
They could have been tearing it down.
Why? Just like, nobody would build one. Like, we're going to finish this one side and then we'll get to the other 3.
It was for filming.
I know. I just...
It's a good joke.
But I appreciate them using part of the set that they've built in order to...
Yes, to make a joke.
To make a plot point and a joke. But yes, they use the doors to hide themselves from the heat vision.
Yeah, they slink across behind these doors to get to the next place.
They were the doors of non-perception.
Yeah.
And then
and they get around the corner and there's only one right near the vehicle they need to get out.
Yeah.
And Michael Gross has his goddamn monstrous sniper rifle thing. And they're like, it's 100 yards. You think you can make that shot? And he's just like, I'm Michael Gross. Yeah. Don't you know who I am?
I live for this.
If I could remember the Barry Pepper speech from Saving Private Ryan, I'd probably just say it now. Yeah, he's basically like...
But he's just like, just cover your ears. Yeah. And so everyone covers their ears. And when he fires this gun, they actually blow out the window next to him.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And man, again, jelly budget.
I mean,
They
honestly,
blow this thing up.
Honestly, I gotta
Chunky.
say, well, I mean, not the explosion, the gunshot. I
Yeah.
think that was a real shot. I mean, it might have been a blank, but that was like the way everyone reacted. I think that was a real shockwave blowing out that window.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
Wouldn't surprise me.
because all of the cast went, poof, like they all like legitimately
Yeah.
jumped. I mean, I don't know. Just
yeah.
like,
Either way, like he pulps this thing, and everyone's like, "Fucking shit!"
Like, whoa, dude.
Because he'd shown off these bullets earlier. They were like,
it's a 50 cal sniper rifle.
Yeah.
It will. Yeah, it will.
But
red-
he
it
had,
will red
he had
mist.
special made brass bullets or something crazy.
Yeah, they're like,
that.
anti-tank rounds or some shit. That's what he says.
Yeah, but the problem is he brought this because he planned on 30-foot underground worms having to kill them, like the first movie.
Right.
Not these little things. And what happens is it has gone through the wall behind the little thing and pierced the tank of the vehicle.
Oh, it's gone through like 6 layers of concrete.
Yeah, because they keep looking and there are these perfect holes and like
it's like finding the alien acid thing. Where
yeah,
they just like keep
you
going
just
down,
keep
like,
going and go, oh
oh, it
god,
finally stopped. Oh, it stopped in the engine
Yeah.
block
Yeah.
of our getaway
and
car.
like, well, this thing's fucked.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is when they end.
And
up
again,
on-
he's like, I was prepared for this. If you'd given me proper intel, we wouldn't be here. And
and
but then they get spotted. They have
Yeah.
to split up. Michael Gross has to dive into the
I think this
the
is where
basket of a bulldozer.
okay. I guess this is where okay.
Yeah, the other guy runs up. He gets up the water tower, and the other two get inside the building, and are able to escape by by steaming up one of their like a pair of pants or something, getting it really super hot in the sink,
in the
and then
sink, yeah.
and then putting it out on the clothesline and just wheeling it out all the way.
So that they all attack it.
But they all attack it, and then these two just decide to run up the water tower.
Well, where else
They-
are they going to go?
They have decided, and it's never I don't understand why they come to this decision, but the decision is made that these things can't climb, and they're just like, they can't climb.
Well, it
We're
didn't.
safe up here.
It didn't chase the one guy. That's the only thing he's really basing that on.
Well, because he didn't. It explored with its tongue up there to find him and couldn't do it, so it just gave up basically. But like if I think if they had seen them up there,
they showed one watch him climb up there. It didn't go after him. Yeah, I mean there was a predator vision, like his ass going up a ladder, like saying that shot from underneath. Yeah.
Yep. But
And the rest of them too. I mean, it's just the ass is what you see first.
yeah.
But so now it's 3 of them up there. Michael Gross is kind of trapped in this thing, but he knows they can't hear or see him. So as long as he stays down and their tongues don't touch him, because that's the only other thing they've determined is that their tongues they can.
Yeah, because when he threw the MRE in, it's like it's not hot, but it touched it with his tongue. It was like, boo.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But so they leave him alone and they're just kind of wandering around. So they're yelling back and forth, "What are we gonna do?" And they figure that if they wait, they haven't made contact with the company for a while, and sooner or later someone will come out there and find them.
Sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully they won't get dehydrated in the interim
Yeah, no, that's
or eaten.
yeah.
And
right,
we also learned that Helen Shaver was a Playboy Playmate in 1974.
That is
which Fred Ward remembers the month.
No. Well, there is a speech like when Vince Vaughn Jr. goes to visit him and he's trying to talk him into doing this. He's got a bunch of he's got his awards and his People magazines and all that all the publicity stuff on the wall. But like the only like truly redneck shit he has on the wall is just like a tape to the wall centerfold. And basically, he's like, look at that. There's a speech at some point. He's like, look at it over there. And he's just like, yeah, what about her? And he's just like, I taught myself a long time ago. I put her up on the wall to remind myself I can't have things that I want or,
some things are out of reach.
some things
and
out of
you
reach.
need to be okay with that.
Yeah. And so basically, he's just like, yeah, she's my reminder, October 1974 or something like that. Anyway, it comes back around where they're trapped up on the water tower and they're having small talk about, man, this is like, this brush close with death really makes me think I should date more and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, it just basically comes out like, yeah, I paid my way through college.
She was a model, and then she says, I was also a playmate. And he's like, October 74? And then she just goes into the pose. She doesn't go, yeah. She just immediately gets in the position that it's...
Yep.
This is an excellent bit of screenwriting because in no way do you think that little bit of business about the centerfold on the wall has any fucking thing to do with anything whatsoever. Like, not when Helen Shaver showed up, I didn't think, she's the Playboy Playmate. Didn't cross my mind.
I didn't think of her as a blonde herring.
It is It is a fun little thing that they
Come
throw
on,
in
that was
there,
good.
and I don't know. I appreciate.
It's one of
that
those little
touch.
things that just it's a nice touch that works.
Yes.
Yes, it tickles you.
Yeah.
Like it happens. You're like,
Yeah.
you're
Not-
very good. You.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not too bad.
But they have to get off of the water tower
Especially because
because
they're forming a cheerleading pyramid to get up there and get them.
yes, the Screamoids have decided that they're just going to start jumping on each other's backs.
Ah, it's so good.
And this is actually a scene that would be worse with really good CG. It's much better because the CG is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it is
Agreed,
them
yeah.
jumping on top of each other, stacking themselves up, and then, you cut to everyone on the roof and the tongue is slapping around trying to touch them. And that's when Michael Gross has pulled out his Bowie knife and is looking in the reflection at what's happening and hops out and gets them to chase him into
Yeah, like the snack shack, basically.
into the snack shack, which he did not know was a snack shack
No,
in
no.
his defense.
Yes.
But yeah,
Apparently, it's also the place he was keeping his truck.
yep. But
Um,
he's able to trap them all in there. And they're like, sweet, we got him. And then he's like, oh, wait, what's in there?
Yeah.
Sweets. And yes, they are gorging themselves and vomiting out new shriekoids, screamoids. I don't remember, whatever.
Shrek 2
New monsters.
Yeah. Shrek the Thirdoids.
And this is where they come up with the plan to spray somebody with a fire extinguisher so they're super cold and all their clothes are covered in ice so that they can sneak in and set off the bombs that are in there and escape. And Fred Ward does it.
It's Fred Ward's idea.
Yeah.
Uh,
But the kid volunteers to do it.
he does, and there's been a running thing throughout the film of rock paper scissors between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real quick learning curve of the first time he does it, the kid has absolutely no fucking idea what he's doing. And then it just seems like Fred Ward is scamming him every time they do this,
Yeah.
make this decision. And so he's like, I'm going in there. It's me. I got all of you into this. I'm going in. And he's like, he holds out his hand like, come on, rock, paper, scissors me. And he does it. And
The kid wins for the first
Yeah,
time.
the kid
Yeah.
does paper.
yes,
Fred Ward does rock.
I think he's done rock every single time. I think that's the joke.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know.
But he goes, rock tears through paper.
Yeah.
I win.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they start spraying him down. He's like, wait, what?
Well, it's like he's already in the building, like coated in CO2 and everything, and the kid's like, "Wait,
Yeah.
paper covers rock."
Mhm.
They're like, "Yes, every
Yeah,
time, you
whatever,
dumbass."
idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he
but,
goes in.
But he gets in. He's able to sneak around these things. And there actually are quite a few in that room. I think there might be a couple CG ones that are mixed in with the practical effects.
Maybe some prototypes. They
Yeah.
don't have to move.
Yeah.
There's just someone off camera jiggling them.
Mhm.
This
plastic
one's,
bag.
Yeah,
this
it
one's
wouldn't-
eating candy.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's able to get the timer, get in the truck, and then they're like, they are watching from up above, and they're like, "Oh no, you're melting! It's wearing off." And there's a pretty good shot of the Predator vision of just like you kind of spot the backs of his legs a little bit,
Mhm.
so you can see kind of like the bottom half of him, and
Yeah, it's kind of sheeting off, and you start seeing more and more of them.
Yep.
Yeah, they all like. Rah!
yep,
But yeah, he climbs up. This I think
That's
this
when
is-
he does
yeah,
the
this is-
shot
yeah,
that you're
this-
talking
Yeah,
about.
he's up on top of Michael Gross's truck, tries to swing over him, falls on his face, then just climbs out the window.
yeah, because they've got a fire hose that
Yeah.
they've cut,
Yeah.
and they're trying to drop it down to him so he can pull himself out.
Yeah, but I mean, he falls on his face first, and they pull him out, and then
Yeah, and then they
he's-
get him
he's-
out.
Yeah, he's basically just like, "Hey, I couldn't think of anything else to do. I set all the explosives off on the truck," and Michael Gross is like, "That's like 2.5 tons of CE4 or something."
Yeah,
like that.
and he's
Or
like,
something that.
"You're telling me it's not enough?"
Yeah.
And he goes,
"No,
"No, no,
Like,
just run."
just keep like they run to one
And
building.
they
and
hide behind a shed that's like maybe
like
ma-
50,
not
50
even
yards.
100
Yeah.
yards
Yeah,
away.
it's like 50 yards away. He's like,
And
nope.
Michael Gross just keeps running by him. He's like, "Nope, keep moving."
Yeah, this is such a good like MythBusters moment where it's just like, I mean, it's good because it's like it's really building it's setting the scene for how big the explosion's going to be because
Yeah.
it's just building that tension and stuff. But
hmm Yeah, because Michael Gross is like, "How much did you put on the timer?" He's like, "I don't know. I just pressed buttons."
And then he's like, well, all right,
Yeah.
just keep running till you can't run anymore.
Yeah, and of course there's a trench that's dug, and they're like, "Well, I get behind it."
Yeah.
And the kid's like standing up on the top of it next to a shed, going, "Are we going to see this or what?" And he's like, "Get the fuck down."
You stupid idiot.
And as he says this is when they cut to the long shot of that thing blowing up. And it is just a Mythbusters. We have leveled.
Yeah,
Whatever structure this was is obliterated.
it might be actual demolition footage. That's how large it is. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like,
I'm pretty sure it was a model.
Yeah. Okay, or that.
Either way,
it's
But it's a good splintery
it's
explosion.
significant.
It is the White House blowing up in Independence Day. It is
Yeah.
it is a good planks of wood are just flying off
Yeah, and that kid just gets blasted into the ditch.
Yeah.
The shed gets blasted onto him.
on top of him.
Yeah. And as they're pulling him out, that's when the crew gets to start throwing chunks of viscera at everybody.
Barrels.
Yep.
Yeah, it's basically movie over. I mean, more or less. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, they're gonna be real upset. We blew a big hole in their thing.
Well, they're like, hey, we think we'll still get the money. And they're like, well, we kind of did blow up their entire refinery. And then they just cut to a crater behind
I mean, really,
them.
they blew up the snack shack.
The snack shack. did get
There was
leveled.
no refining going on at this place. It was
Yeah.
all just storage and shit.
Yeah, they never did get to the refinery part,
No.
did they?
I probably couldn't afford the refinery part.
But yeah,
It's a very good matte painting of a crater
It is.
in the landscape.
it is.
And them standing there looking at it. But there is no dumb bullshit. Here are the Tremors eggs or
Yeah.
any of that.
Or the EPA shows up or none of that stuff.
Yeah, there's no like, they didn't win. You thought they won, but
Mhm.
they didn't win. It's like, it's just, nope, we won. Credits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I guess
Ensign
we're done.
Award.
Oh yeah, I think I'll give it.
I think that kid officially gets an Ensign Award.
He had a good freak out. And then he
Yeah.
had a good, like, I'm cool. And then he goes right back into it.
Yep.
Like I said, I was getting serious like Vince Vaughn swingers vibes. I know that's like a year or two later, I want to say, but maybe not when this
Yeah.
actually came out on video. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
when it was
But
filmed.
this was filmed in '94.
Yeah,
so
I'm just saying, like, it just has that, like, way too confident white guy with bowling shirts and
Yeah.
vibe. Like a little too ska positive.
There's a very '90s feel to this
Yeah.
guy.
Well, yeah, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
The decade all
I'm
of you
just
seem
saying,
to love.
He
Look, I'm
was
just-
more than ska curious.
I'm just saying he was a little smash mouthy.
Yeah.
He did have a stupid hat for a while.
Yeah.
Lost the hat.
Yeah. I ended up not minding that character because like he settles down into actually reacting properly to events.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it's almost like a point after the freak out happens where it's like, okay, now I'm actually acting like the character should be acting, as opposed to just like playing this character that's wandering around this thing.
Mm-hmm.
A character in the terms of like I'm a caricature type,
Right.
in that way. But I can rate it.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going 3 jocks. I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did, but like once Michael Gross showed up, it kind of stepped up a notch, and then like once the kid calmed down and was like being something reasonable, it went up a little bit more. I just the second half of this movie is way better than the first half. I'll say that. I don't necessarily like the whole like, all right, no more worms. We're just doing these little gremlin things that are running around, because really they're also ripping off gremlins.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like, okay, if they eat, then they multiply. It's like, okay, like, I get it. But it's like this whole like, this thing that's everywhere can mean them multiplying at any moment. It's kind of, they steal that pretty whole cloth at that point.
The act structure needed to go easily killing graboids. There's this new thing. Second act. Third act, if they eat, they vomit out a new one.
Mm-hmm.
That the threat then escalates. They introduced the eating reproduction thing way too early.
Yeah.
They've only just discovered these things, and then they're like, feed it a snack.
And they do it in a way that's not threatening to them
Right.
at that moment.
Yeah. So
It's like that's one of those things where it should have been edited back and forth. Like they're out there eating, in the other room behind them, and they don't realize it.
Yeah, I mean, not to step all over one of your favorite things, but I feel like what works so well about the Gremlin scene in like the take it to the science teacher, study it scene, and why it's so threatening is like it's a rickety ass cage, it's a thing is dangerous, and you're like, this is a fucking high school science teacher, this is probably one of the least qualified people you could have taken this to. And it's like, there's inherent tension because you're like,
Yeah.
none of this is right. This is going to go badly. And, like, it's not necessarily translated here like that
Yeah.
in any way. It's just like, no,
Well-
this seems like a sturdy cage. Other than you took the ropes, the
Mhm.
ropes off its mouth for what didn't seem like a good reason at the time. It makes
Yeah.
sense later, but
And you also don't have Joe Dante directing it. So
well, yeah, I suppose that is a difference.
Technically, you're correct.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like that whole like I love Gremlins, but yeah, that whole I always talk about the kitchen scene, but man, that
Yeah,
the build up with watching the hummingbird video of the hummingbird's heart beating faster and faster, and just like all that shit is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
yeah. I mean that scene that is a scene that starts with dread, and it's
Yeah.
like and it just builds. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it's a thing.
Yeah, and this one it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, they multiply now.
They also do this.
Yeah.
Like, here's a brand new thing you've never seen before, and look what it can do.
Yeah, but it's still I think the second half of this movie is a lot of fun, and there's a really good explosion at the end. So I'm gonna go 3 jocks.
I think Tremors 2 gets 2 jocks from me. The first 45 minutes are fine. Like, really, I saw this when it hit video. Like, I was working in the video
Mhm.
store when Tremors 2 came out, so
I feel like actually same. Like honestly, like I mean, especially that opening scene. Sorry, I didn't mean to step out.
No.
Like as soon as that opening scene started, I'm like, I think I've actually seen this, and I
Mhm.
don't know why.
Yeah.
I know I definitely have not seen it.
I mean, it was just when it came, everyone was super curious about it. It was like, they made another Tremors, and everyone in the video store was like, we should all get together and watch
I
this
think we
and see
also
what it
just
is.
had DVD players for the first time, maybe, or getting
No,
close to
no,
it.
no,
96
no,
was a little too
no.
early.
Yeah, I guess I was probably more like 98. I think when I
Yeah.
got mine.
Yeah.
But so, like, I remembered the genesis of these new things. I remembered that happening. My mind thought it was a lot cooler, and I'm mixing it up with something else that I can't place. But I was still, at the time, supremely impressed that they made these little tiny things that, when they were real practical effects, looked rad. Like,
Mhm.
like just behaved like weird fucking things, and could be terrifying if they were able to be more mobile without the need for CG. Because like the CG shots sometimes they have are just them like tumbling around like puppies, like falling over and doing things that the puppet couldn't do. But it kind of cheapens them a little bit because they look goofy, and like when they run, they look like baby chicks, and it's like, that's cute. It's not,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's-
it is terrifying.
It's the battle droid scenario. It's like these things
Sure.
are supposed to be scary, and you're just having to go, Roger,
Yeah.
Roger, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
this is your bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So, the first half is fine. It's kind of standard, and it goes on too long, and then they mix it up in the second act, which is the rest of the film, and I think all that stuff is really neat. It's fine. I ended up liking it more as it went on. So yeah, 2 jocks.
Yeah, I mean, I know I said all that earlier about my kind of general dislike about. I think my dislike is that Tremors became a franchise. That's what I think I'm trying to say. It's just like, it's not a thing that warrants doing more than one movie. It never did, and I think I just can't abide things that like waste people's time. Like I mean, at least like with Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street sequels, at least they tried different things. It wasn't just like. I mean, it was, I know Friday the 13th is probably a bad example because it's, people are just there for the stupid deaths.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's like, this is just like, well, I also feel like,
Well, I mean,
evolving them was in the second movie is also kind of stupid. I mean, like, I feel like, you could have stepped them up in some way as a worm form before you're like, oh, well, now they're, now it's Avatar 2 and they're in the water.
Yeah.
I feel like you're besmirching a franchise that you've only seen 2 entries of.
Okay, well,
I mean, unless you've secretly seen 3
I
through
don't
7.
think so, but I mean, like, why? I mean, this already feels like such incredible diminishing returns from the first one that it's like, it's not going to get any better. I know this, I've been around. We've done this rodeo. I don't know how many times. Like, direct-to-video sequels don't generally get better. I mean, every once in a while there's a weird anomaly where it's like this guy for some reason came in and tried. He was given that Joe Dante making Piranha 2 chance, where it's like, I'm gonna make the most of what I have here and show people that I have more than just can point a camera. But like I said, I just feel like generally overall speaking, this is like kind of such a nothing series that should not have kept going. It's like there's like Underworld. Like why is there 6 Underworld movies? Like the first one was so barely a thing that it's just like, why did you keep going?
You do understand why there are so many of these things, right?
Because people keep paying for
because money.
Sure, great.
I mean, because they made money, and then the studio says make another one, and then that makes money, and they're like, take that money and make another one.
Okay.
That's how Hollywood works.
Well, I know. I think my point is like, I don't have a lot of. I guess I don't want to follow series of sequels that I don't care that much about the first one. I mean, like the first one is fine. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's like. But I'm also like, and like with Tremors over, I was like, man, can't wait for more Tremors. Like I never once had that thought when the movie was over. Like so many other things are like, I would watch more of that. Like keep going. That like, Tremors was over. And
like,
it was
Me After Spencer Confidential.
Yeah,
it's like you can make 6 movies with these guys, and I'd watch them.
Yeah, sure.
None of them more than once, but I'd watch them.
Yeah, but I mean, this was just like, I mean, Tremors is like one of those things. Like that was over, and that's good, and no need for more of that ever. I don't know.
I get where you're coming from, but I had fun with it.
Okay.
But it does seem weird for them to blow up the premise.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Somewhat because, but I mean they thoroughly blow up all of them. They figured out how to kill them. So it's kind of like, all right, how do you solve this problem? You change what they're doing because they almost get killed by one when it grabs the chain and almost takes them off a cliff. But that's about the only danger that happens in the in the early montage
that's
section.
What works about the first 45 minutes is that they know the rules of these things and they're supremely cocky about it because they know exactly what to do and what not to do.
It's almost like what you'd want a sequel to do. It's like, okay, you get like we complain in movies where the characters they've already experienced this and yet they're stupid and make the same mistakes again in the sequel.
Yeah.
And it's like here they're like, no, like we figured it out. We figured out how to kill these damn things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, whatever.
I don't know.
I'm not angry that they exist. It's just it's just one of those franchises that has always seemed inherently silly that there was more than one. I can't put my finger on it. I think it's because the first one just seems like a joke. I mean, like I said, it'd be like if there's 6 other Slither movies. I would think the same thing. I was like,
There's like 7 Sharknadoes.
It's honestly like, I mean, I'm that way with Scream. I'm like, like Scream 1 and 2, I get it, but like when you keep going, you're now breaking your own self-aware thing. Like, do you not get that? Like, do you not understand what self-aware and parody means? Like, not just like as an excuse to say terrible things, but like actual like parody and satire and things. And like I feel like Tremors was like setting out to be somewhat satirical to the monster movie genre, maybe not quite as like tongue-in-cheek as Slither, but the fact that there's 6 other Tremors movies just seems inherently silly to me. I'm sorry. I can't be angry that there's 1,800 Sharknado movies because I don't care, and I think most people don't care, but like that is I don't whatever. I don't care. There's
I'm going to tell you, they're all above 5 on IMDb.
Well, sure, yeah. That's
or at least 3, 4, and 5 are.
Of Tremors, or are we talking
Tremors?
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, it is one of those things where like they tried to make a TV show multiple times, and it's just kind of like, why? Yes, why put this much effort into it? But
yeah,
I mean, maybe the people that worked on it just wanted to.
If it's making money for people and they're having fun doing it, whatever. I don't care. I really don't care. I just, like I said, it's like, it doesn't mean I necessarily want to watch them or I think it's entertaining, or it doesn't necessarily, it just seems kind of silly. Like, to like build a franchise off of like shit. I mean, that's the DC cinematic universe. I mean, but they've not the actual like source material, but like they were just like, they kept doubling down on like the worst things and the worst parts of everything. And, whatever.
What was your rating, please?
1 Jocks.
Okay.
It's still worth watching, but mostly for the second half.
Okay. So, contact information.
Yeah.
If you want to get in touch with us, BMFcast.com, which is working again. You may have tried to visit it today. It's
Wasn't
back.
working?
Long story. It's back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're good. Yeah. You can find us basically at any streaming service that you want, we're probably on there. Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Like our feed. If there's any that you
any
listen
place
to,
where there are podcasts.
yeah, we're pretty sure we're on all of them. But if there's a weird one that you got that we're not on, just let us know, and we'll make it happen, one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, check us out, patreon.com/BMFcast. I had it all backwards.
Or
If
you
you go to
could
the other one, we should add a link to that.
BMFcast/Patreon,
Yeah,
which takes
yeah.
you to patreon.com/BMFcast.
It should. But patreon.com/BMFcast is obviously our Patreon where you can give us money for extra stuff.
Obviously.
Like BMFcast Extra. Or BJ and Jens talking about James Bond movies. It's pretty good. Doctor Who, it'll be back. You still have access to everything we've ever done there as well. Like all of our archive stuff, including shows that are now long defunct. They're all in there. So if you want to get it, you should join and enjoy. Otherwise, if you want to write us, bmf@bmfcast.com, or give us a call, Garfield phone, 910-5JACKS-BMF, 910-556-9263. I yield my time. Thank you.
Just want to point out that bmfcast.com/Patreon actually goes to something.
Something. It better go to our Patreon. Is that something?
It goes to the home of our Patreon logo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So,
Well, it's probably just linking to the file you're saying, right? Is that what
Yes.
you're saying? Okay.
Okay.
but
Hey.
it does exist, and the Patreon link is right there. So,
Well, there you go. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Let's get out of here, shall we?
Sure.
I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm Chuck.
This is BMFcast out.
Damn it! One day I'll remember that BJ's the one who says that.
Yep.
I wish I could more eloquently put my expression as to why I feel like the existence of the Tremors franchise is an anomaly.
I kind of wish you would, because it's documented that you like them. So I don't understand this reaction of, man, I really like those Tremors movies. Fuck that franchise for existing.
No, I get where you're coming from. That it's just like, how'd this happen?
I think so. Well, I mean, I think the other thing is, like, I lived through this era. Not one of my fucking friends ever talk about the movie Tremors. Nobody fucking talked about the movie Tremors. We talked about a lot of movies. Nobody fucking mentioned Tremors once, ever. It was never like, oh my god, you see Tremors. Like, I just, like, it's such a weird thing for it to have this, like, legion of fans, and, like, I've never heard anyone fucking mention it until, like...
I guess so, but there's also
Yeah.
TV shows that people like they'll
I
be
know,
on,
there's-
like you go on Twitter and people are like, "Oh no, they're canceling this! Everyone, you write ABC," and it's like, "This is we deserve a 6th season," and I'm like, 6th season? This is literally the first time I have ever heard of this show.
I suppose
I'm
so.
not even joking. I have no idea what show this is.
I just feel like it's more acceptable nowadays. There wasn't much content back then. Like, there was 4 networks and a movie a week that came out of the video store. It's not like these days where it's like there's 1,600 channels putting out 1,600 shows a day.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's just like I'm saying, like,
You know,
no one ever mentioned Tremors ever. Like, I mean, and people
Maybe it
love
was-
to talk about shit like Pumpkinhead. I had horror friends. People were like, "Oh my god, gore effects! I can't fucking. Oh my god, Pumpkinhead's so good." And like, I'm just saying, people that were like, "Oh my god, like."
Pumpkinhead's on notice.
You were friends with the Silence of the Lambs guy.
What's
Pumpkinhead's so good.
Or like Pumpkinhead too, but
Help me keep Couch way in the back of the van.
head.
Was it back there with Pumpkinhead?
big jack-o'-lantern, what'd you say?
It's kind of orange,
Yeah.
shaped like a pumpkin.
Hey, Dr. Pumpkinhead.
You got ideas back there.
Yeah,
in his
but
wallet.
Sometimes, like
Dr.
back then, honestly, all it took was like some producer that was about it.
Sure, I guess.
And if this guy S.S. Wilson was willing to keep coming back and like write Tremors shit, and and maybe he was like, "Hey, this is super cool." And I don't know if there were comic books inside. Like, it's like one of those things. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it just seemed like a thing that spawned out
But
of nothing. And
honestly, like, it's weird to think about Star Wars like in 1990, like 89, 90 at that era.
Dead franchise.
Nobody gave a shit. Like, it was like people like me are like, "Oh, there's a new Star Wars book." Holy shit. Like, I was pumped about it, but it was like you didn't talk about it to anybody. Like, nobody cared about Star Wars at all.
yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, and then it became the hugest thing ever. Like, I don't know what it was, because it was like, I feel like people got pumped for the prequels, but it was also like
That I mean,
it took a few years of it happening for people to care.
The re-releases were the only thing that made people.
Yeah,
care about the
that must have
prequels.
been what
that
it
was.
was.
That was just like, hey, Star Wars is back, and because we're getting ready to do new ones, and I mean, then it was a whole like, oh, George Lucas got $1 billion deal. I mean, there were weird things that like set Star Wars back into like public consciousness, be it like business dealings, and I mean, I'm sure it was all calculated. I mean, most of this shit usually is. But,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's weird that we get obsessed about like how much somebody gets paid for some sort of licensing deal, but it makes people start talking about some shit, and then you're like, oh my god, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. You know, it's just like that's how it happens. So
Yeah. I guess, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like in 89, 90, you know, there could have been an argument like, why would they want to make another Star Wars?
Sure.
You know,
I guess.
but as long as someone cared about it and there was money to be made somewhere,
Yeah, I guess I
It
think
can
it's,
happen.
I think it's an inherently silly series that it's just bizarre that it exists. That's all. Like
Yeah.
just I mean, and you know, the fact that like we're kind of even having this argument when the series was like, you know who we need to put in charge to lead us into the future? Jamie Kennedy. Clearly, that's a series that has the most noble of intentions in its mind.
well, that was also clearly the point where it was done. How many movies get 5 in, and it's like, aside from the obvious one, that where you hit 5 and you're like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, it's
It's
just an inherently silly franchise. That's all.
Yeah. Well,
Like I
at
said,
least we
it's-
know.
To me, it's 90s. It's 90s Sharknado. Really.
I've got good news for you.
Yeah.
We're not making it to the Jamie Kennedy ones.
Okay, good. I don't care. I don't.
Wherever
really,
they start, that's where we stop.
I honestly, I have no like ill will towards Jamie Kennedy. Really, I don't care about him one way or the other. Really, he really barely registers as a human entity.
Yeah.
In my mind.
To you, it was a Tuesday.
Yeah, you mean that guy from Scream? Like I have to remember. I forget he had a show and like
Oh, yeah.
reasons why people hate him or something. I don't know.
Jamie Kennedy Experiment. My mom loved that show.
Your mom did?
Yes, that was like one of her favorite shows was Jamie Kennedy Experiment. I don't know why.
Are you talking about Empire? In the chat, what's the obvious fifth one? Are you talking about Empire? Because it's not really fifth. I mean, it's the
No,
second one.
Fast 5.
Oh, Fast 5. Okay. Thank you.
Empire was the second one.
Well, I know. That's, I mean, like.
It's not the fifth one.
Well, yes.
That's not even.
I was
Come on.
trying to clarify.
I
That's
know.
all.
I know. I am directing this to Patrick. Like
Okay.
that. It's the second one. It's
Yeah.
not the fifth one.
Well, even I
Fast
was.
5 is the fifth one.
Like, we were
as
just talking
noted
about
by
Star
its-
Wars, so I wasn't even
I
thinking
know.
about Fast and Furious at the time.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's all.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Tremors.
Yeah, it's fine. It
It's
exists.
it's.
Some people watch it.
I
We
like
watch
Fred
it.
Ward, man.
Fred Ward is a cool dude. I wished he'd had a different kind of career. Like I just wish like I wish people would have, like more people would have seen Remo Williams and been like, yeah, that's him. Like I mean,
Well, I remember us watching Tremors, like the first one. I think it got 4 jocks from Almost Always because of Fred Ward, because he's so good in that one.
yeah, I just
Because he has more of a foil to play off of in Kevin Bacon. I
Yeah.
think like this guy doesn't work the way Kevin Bacon does with him.
yeah, I feel like Fred Ward could have been the action hero that Eric Roberts wanted to be. Like
Yeah.
that just everyday guy who does some actiony things. You know, like not really like the buff dude or
Do I need to watch Remo Williams? I've never seen it. But that's one, man. I saw that in the video store so many times and just never ended up watching it.
Chuck, do you want to field that? I don't think I can answer that one correctly.
Remo Williams would be difficult as a first watch today.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some nostalgia involved in watching it today and enjoying it.
Uh-huh.
There is some white guy playing an Asian man
Yeah, it's Joel,
problematic.
Isn't it Joel Grey?
Yes.
Yeah, from
Joel
Cabaret.
Grey and old man Asian makeup.
Yeah.
I think we commented at the time that it's not a gross caricature.
It's not Mickey Rooney and Breakfast at
Right.
Tiffany's.
But it's still
It's
why
also-
did you hire a white guy, a young white guy, make him 1 old and 2 Asian when you could just hire an old Asian man?
I think Joel Grey was super young, but whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, but yeah, I'm just saying, like I have weird memories of that movie. Like it's one of the first times I remember going to a theater with my dad. Like honestly, like ever to
Yeah.
go see that movie. So I have, there are certain things, bizarre things about that movie that I can't separate out of my life and look at objectively. So
Yeah. That's understandable
Yeah.
too. I think we all have movies that like the experience and the everything surrounding the movie affects the movie itself.
Yeah, I mean we gave it 2 jocks when we rewatched it. So I mean it failed for a reason. It's not great.
Yeah.
It's got some really interesting stuff in it, but there's a lot of just kind of espionage bullshit sneaking around and not doing much stuff, and a lot of jumping to conclusions and questionable stuff. I mean, had there been another one, would it have been worth watching? Sure. I would have watched a second Remo Williams film, especially because they fucking started it by calling it The Adventure Begins. Like, fucking balls on you people.
I think they even slap the title for the next one at the end. Like, he's going to be back in something.
Maybe,
something.
but you might be thinking of
it was directed by Guy Hamilton?
Yeah, also that.
Yeah. Okay. Things are falling into place now.
I mean, it depends. Do you like hearing Kate Mulgrew speak? Because she's in it.
It's true. Kate Mulgrew's.
Did they put this out the same time as View to a Kill?
It was 85, so...
Yeah, but I mean, was it like one of those, like, we're going to go right up against Bond type things?
It was probably something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Bond's old. Here's the new king of action.
October 11th, 1985. So let's see. Yeah. So remember that. 11/11, 85. Or no, 10/11/85. I don't even know my months anymore. Or 11/10/85 if you're from another country.
If you're
that does things the smart way.
Yeah. That really is a smart way.
View to a
I think the thing that's not smart about it, though, is I still think they say the dates like we say it. Like, I don't think they say the 23rd of June, whatever. I think they still say June 23rd. It's like, well, okay, then the way we write it is more smart if that's the way you're going to speak it. But, like,
May 24th, 1985 for View to a Kill.
So it was gone from theaters by that time.
Summer movie.
May 24th, you said?
Yes.
So yesterday.
Yes.
Happy anniversary of View to a Kill.
You forgot to
The best
celebrate
Bond
the
film.
37th anniversary of View to a Kill.
did you just say the best Bond?
Don't engage.
Yes, please don't.
Just don't engage that.
I eagerly await Chuck's like 10-star review of Doctor Strange 2 because it's some Spider-Man 3 level bullshit. So, I'm kidding, Chuck. I know it's because you don't care about Spider-Man. You like it doing odd things, but there's times and places to do stupid movies, and it's not when you're making an adaptation of something that exists. Yeah. I'm just saying, like,
All right.
let Tim Burton go make all of his bullshit tweet, hot topic things, and not make that.
Are we still online?
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We're going offline. Have a nice week. May next week be better than this fucking week.